Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your...
I think this is gonna be a long bit.
Photo News Fix. This fix is brought to you by Storyblocks. Storyblocks gives you unlimited access to royalty-free photos, videos, music, sound effects, vectors, motion backgrounds, and so much more for one subscription cost. On top of that, there's a Storyblocks plugin for Adobe Premiere that's going to allow you to search all of Storyblocks right there in Premiere, which is going to save you a lot of time. For those DaVinci Resolve users, templates are now available in your Storyblocks library. Now, in honor of this past weekend's boot camp, here's a Storyblocks clip titled "Military Soldier Crawling Under Net During Obstacle Course." You won't need to do that when you come to my boot camp. To sign up for Storyblocks or to learn more, head on over to storyblocks.com/fro. First up, Oasis, who's in the news not just because they are touring once again, but because their photo contract for their show is drawing the ire of photo agencies. On last week's episode of the Fronos Photo Raw Talk podcast, episode 159 that comes out every Friday at fronosphoto.com/podcast or wherever you get your podcasts, we went into details about how Oasis was only allowing agencies to have rights to the images that they create for 1 year, and then the band somehow got the rights to those images. Well, this week, the same photo agencies that originally agreed to terms for the first 2 shows decided they will no longer cover any more shows during the tour. Guess what?
Oh shit, what?
That's their choice.
And it's the choice of a new generation.
If you don't agree with the terms, no matter how egregious they are,
Apple may show your mouth to the butthole of another iTunes user.
you don't need to sign them.
Decline.
Agencies make money off of the photos. Yes, Oasis gets publicity from the dissemination of them from these agencies, but Oasis does not need their publicity. Hell, the tour stands to make £1 billion if the brothers don't f it up, that is.
Is that a challenge?
On top of that, Oasis can hire their own creative team and then make the images available to news organizations around the world. The photos all look the same anyway. The band just stands there on stage and does their thing, because that's Oasis. They don't need you.
Fire in your heart is out.
And they don't care. Next up, did Tony Northrup finally get his wish of password-protected cameras?
Baby.
Kinda, sorta, not. Probably not. Let me jump in here real quick because this story is no longer a rumor. Canon did update their firmware after I was already done recording the Photo News Fix, which means it is official, and we will talk more about this on the next Raw Talk. Now, let's get back to the story. According to Digital Camera Info, who shared the info from Canon Japanese website, Canon is working on releasing firmware for 10 EOS R series cameras in response to European cybersecurity regulations. Now here's how they're saying it will work. The password settings screen will be displayed when you start up the camera for the first time or after updating the firmware. You will need to enter a 6-digit password. You know, something super powerful like 1,
2,
3,
3,
4.
Then you will select OK, enter the password again, hit OK, and when you turn the camera on or it wakes up from auto power off, a password screen will be displayed. I don't know about you, but that.
Tell me how you really feel.
Every single time I turn off the camera or it goes to sleep, I need to enter the password. That's just stupid and useless.
What will work?
Put a thumb fingerprint reader on it, for God's sakes. That would be instant. Even if someone steals your camera and can't use it, they still have the lenses to sell. This just seems like a way to placate the regulators in Europe because it's certainly not usable, at least in the way it's currently described. Honestly, the only password a camera should ever need is a password to take it out of RAW and put it into JPEG, as that's an amateur move. Yeah, I'm calling you JPEG shooters amateurs. I kid, or do I?
Is he serious?
No, really, I'm just kidding. For real, no one cares what you shoot in. Or do they? I mean, I really don't.
Baby, I like it raw.
But RAW is really the way. Anyway, is this a good idea or a bad idea? Let me know down below. Hey, it's me again. In terms of this Canon firmware, Canon's already pulled the firmware because they found a glitch.
Man, that sucks!
This is why we don't update firmware right away, but I had to pop in here and tell you. All right, back to the video. Next up, this past Sunday, I held a sold-out boot camp for 18 photographers from all over the world. We had both young and old, as well as new and more experienced shooters, but instead of me telling you about it, here's what Delco Rob had to say. I personally really appreciate the pace of the class. There was no wasted time. It was a huge knowledge transfer that was occurring, and you provided multiple scenarios to shoot in that people like myself may never get to shoot. A few times I had questions for you and Greg. The answers were quick, corrected my issues, and direct. The 5 different opportunities that you set up for us to shoot pushed me out of my comfort zone and let me push my gear past what I thought I could do with it. The critique at the end was extremely valuable to see what others captured, and watching your feedback on their photos was just as important as the feedback on my own. The amount of prep work you and your team put into the planning showed in the execution. I also thought the amount of time spent and resources provided was a great value for the price. Last, you not only provided Tier 1 training, but it was also an experience. I hope to do this again if you host another boot camp so I could use the knowledge gained to try and do better. Hey, thanks Delco Rob. It was a pleasure to welcome you and the others into the factory. The next boot camp is on Saturday, August 16th, right here at the studio, and there's only 5 of 18 spots remaining. To learn more and to grab your spot, head on over to bit.ly/FroCamp816. And finally, Sony has announced the RX1R III.
Whoop-de-doo.
What they are calling their flagship full-frame premium compact camera with a fixed lens. No, really, that's what the press release says. I'm not making this shit up. If you're wondering why at the time of announcement you didn't see any hands-on videos drop on YouTube, well, Sony didn't tell anyone about this camera until after it was announced. Apparently, they are more concerned about leaks and rumor sites getting information wrong versus getting info to reputable news outlets and reviewers. Regardless, after close to a decade of waiting, this is Sony's follow-up to the RX1R II. The new version sports a 61 megapixel BSI sensor with Bion's XR and AI processor for the latest in autofocus technology, sports an SD card slot, built-in EVF that no longer needs to pop up like in the old model. The pop-up one was kind of cool. No flip-out LCD screen this time, just a fixed LCD touchscreen on the back, new better battery, and a fixed 35 f2 Zeiss lens. More on that lens in just a second. But first, if you think this sounds a lot like an A7CR, you'd be correct. Except that the A7CR is a far better choice as it offers IBIS, a bigger battery, and ability to pick any E-mount lens you would like. Now, speaking of lenses, the 35 f2 in the RX1R III is the same as the 2, and we're pretty sure that it's the same as the one found in the original, which came out 13 years ago. You can't tell me that they couldn't pair this with something better than a lens that just celebrated its bar mitzvah.
Hayas Elohim.
On top of that, there's no ND filter built in, and that could be a problem, being that the lens has a leaf shutter and it maxes out at f2 at 1/2000th of a second. Now, Sony's main selling point here is the compactness and the size, and uses the same tired idea that it's for people who want the best quality, but maybe don't want to fiddle around with all of those settings of the bigger A7R5 that they already own, or they just want something smaller. Just stop it already. Here's why I'm being harsh. They priced it at $5,100. I get it. Fuji has a $5,000 medium format point and shoot, and Leica has the Q3, and both of those are sexy in their own way. This is not sexy. I'm sexy. I'm too sexy for this shirt.
Too sexy for my shirt.
Shirt's going to leave me.
It hurts.
And I'm too sexy for my pants.
Excite.
Now, what's sexy is the A7CR, a camera that has the same specs and more as this one for only $3,000 and under $4,000 when you add Sigma's new 35 f2 lens. And also, if you want to add a lens hood, that's going to set you back $200. And if you want one of those thumb grips to make it easier to hold, how much do you think that's gonna be? Nah, you're wrong. $300 freaking dollars. That's indefensible. Now, I'm not arguing that the camera has one of the best sensors and processors and focus that we've ever seen, but there is no reason for this camera to even exist when the A7CR already blows it out of the water and isn't exactly much bigger. And you could change lenses, and you have image stabilization. You expected something sexy from Sony after 10 years.
10 years!
I've said it time and time again. The A7CR is one of the greatest, most powerful and fantastic options that anyone's ever made in the camera industry. I'm sorry, Sony, but it seems like you wanted to jump on the bandwagon of high-end point-and-shoot cameras and came up with something that wasn't fresh or new, and honestly, is unnecessary. Again, see everything I said about the A7CR. Oh, whatever, that truck never came here anyway. And there you have it, that's your photo news this time around. Thank you very much for watching. Jared, PolinPhotosphoto.com. See ya.